direct from the web, it's Billy Masters Live. And now, please welcome your host, Billy Masters.
Hello, welcome to Billy Masters Live. Hopefully people are hearing me. My guest in the little frame, tell me, give me a thumbs up. Can you hear me? There you go. Okay. I don't know what's happening. I'm not hearing myself. Usually I hear myself. Anyway, welcome to Billy Masters Live. Of course, I am your host, Billy Masters. And today is, somebody put it up on the screen, please, Thursday, August 6th, 2020. This is our, oh my God, it's our 38th show. And can I tell you, this has been a week. So I usually will promote what's coming up next week. I can't promote what's coming up next week because it has changed 3 times. I have absolutely no idea where we are right now with next week. But I can tell you the week after, on August 20th, put it on your calendar, August 20th, huge show. I can't even tell you how excited I am, but this is going to be like the biggest show we've had. And usually I start with like some sort of amusing anecdote or bon mot from my fabulous life, but I don't know if I've got anything. I've been thinking and I'm like, Jesus, I have no story to tell you today. I really don't. I'm even looking if there's pictures. There's not really like a picture. I've shown you all the pictures. I can tell you this, that we had tornado warnings during Tuesday's show. We had Judy Gold here. This has been an all P-Town week. And we had Judy Gold here on Tuesday. And just before we went live, we got a tornado warning in Boston, by the way. And all I kept thinking is the internet's going to go out, the power's going to go out, the show's going to not happen. So in the middle of the show, if you looked at me, and I maybe looked a little frantic, driving wind and rain was coming, and it was so loud on my end. And I went back and looked at the show. You can't hear it there, but it was unbelievable. And all I kept thinking is, everything's going to go out. And somehow we went on and we had Judy Gold and Wilson Cruz. Definitely go back and check that out because that was a great show. And I also want to point out that last Thursday we had Jerry Mitchell and all the guys from Broadway Bears. Broadway Bears brought in so far, I believe I have the most recent numbers, over $700,000 just from the show this weekend. So I know I have the banner here. So if you would like to donate to Broadway Bears, you can go to broadwaycares.org/Bears 2020 and go to YouTube and watch the Broadway Bears show. It's unbelievable. Although this is really kind of funny. 2 of the clips that I used on Thursday's show were 2 of the clips they used on their show. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying anyone copied me. I'm just saying all great minds think alike. And if you did not watch last Thursday's show, go to our YouTube channel. The easiest way to go there is actually to go to billymasters.com/TV. All of the shows are there, all 38 shows. And they're there in their entirety. I mean, they go anywhere from 1 hour and 15 to 1 hour 45. It varies every single day. So anyway, is that all the shameless promotion I have to say? Other than, just go to billymasters.com. Everything is there. The column is there every week. It's free. There are all the shows can be there. It's just everything is there. We already have, oh, there you go. Hi, Rocky, and hi, Bruce, watching the show. Oh my God, somebody's watching this show who I don't like. You know who you are, and you know why I don't like you. But keep watching and tell your friends. Anyway, okay, so This is another all Provincetown show. There were some circumstances, so people behind the scenes are not going to be on with us, but who cares? We've got headliners, we've got stars, and I cannot be more thrilled. Our first guest, as far as I'm concerned, the queen of Provincetown. Now, see, they're both looking, saying, now, which one of us is he talking about? See, one of them's laughing. The Queen of Provincetown, I don't know how many years, I guess he, because he's on today, is a he, will tell us. It is the great, the fabulous Varla Jean Merman, a.k.a. Jeffrey, but I'm calling you Varla for the whole show.
Call me Varla, that's fine. How you doing?
This is the first time Jeffrey has been on this show.
Yeah, I know. It's so hot here, and I have 2 shows tonight. I'm doing a benefit with me, Dina Martina, and Miss Richfield tonight. So it's a big Provincetown.
Tell us about that.
That's for the Provincetown. Oh God, what's it for? It's for
I keep seeing Rick keeps pointing it out, but I don't know.
Yes. It's for the performing. Oh my gosh, I can't believe now it's just slipped my memory, but I know it's for performers in town who aren't working. And so
okay, good.
Their official website, I want to be able to tell you what it is, but it's so great. I mean, because they're,
whatever it is, it's great.
I know. I just want to tell you the right thing because I get the website wrong. I can't believe I can't remember this.
It never even occurred to me to look it up. While you're looking, let me just show this.
Yes.
Varla is doing 2 shows a week, 2 different shows during the week. On Wednesday nights, it's the Varla and Judy show at 9 p.m. Every show has sold out so far.
Yes.
And on Thursday through Saturday, is it Saturday or Sunday?
Yes, through Saturday. Yeah.
Okay. So through Saturday is Varla Jean Merman Super Spreader, and all shows also have sold out. I think actually all shows at the Crown and Anchor this season have sold out, and it's nice to have a captive audience, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. There's not a lot of choice.
I think I'll go to Varla or go home. I mean,
Yeah, I know, really, but it's so great. And Rick Murray, who owns the Crown, made the most beautiful stage, and then Shelley Jennings, who does a lot of sound in town. Any good sound in town is by Shelley Jennings, and she did the sound, and then Chris Racine did the lights. It's so beautiful. I would perform there when it wasn't a pandemic, when the world wasn't coming to the end. Well,
I saw pictures. I saw pictures of it, and again, you're poolside. You're overlooking the water. I mean, it's really gorgeous. Is there a covering? Like, if there's rain, can you still perform?
No, if there's rain, and we have not, knock on wood, had any problem yet. And even on Tuesday they did have to cancel the shows. I didn't have a show there, so God is on my side.
Thank you.
The hurricane came.
Yeah, when I was expecting that tornado. Yep, I remember Tuesday well. The only reason we had Judy Gold on Tuesday was because of the hurricane.
Yeah.
So thank you, Hurricane.
Yeah, everything Judy has done has been preempted by something this week.
Oh no! Is she on the boat today? Did she make it on the boat?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, Judy had so much fun. We were on stage together last night, and every night is so different and crazy. I love Judy so much. She's great. And let me just tell you what the benefits for is.
Okay, please.
I knew it was for performers, but it's called the Provincetown Performing Arts Fund, and that's the website, provincetownperformingartsfund.com. There's so many. I mean, we are like, I was with Richfield today because we're doing a number tonight together, a duet.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so we had fun putting that together. But we were just, oh my God, we're the luckiest girls in the world that we're working right now. And it looks like things might be scaled back here. I don't know. But for the time being and for the summer, we're so fortunate. But there's so many performers who were not able to come to Provincetown because there's only a few slots. And, we were very lucky to get them. So this sort of takes care of some of those people who, in town who aren't able to work doing that.
Which is great because, again, I don't think people realize it's not just performances that have been down. Everything is down in Provincetown. And so anything you can do to help. I have friends that are like 50% tipping their waiters because they know they're not making money. Bars are closed if they don't have food.
Yeah. Until next year, this is their window, so you just see how much this is going to weigh on the people here, all businesses really, but all over the world, obviously. So, and you take care of who you can. So I'm so fortunate to do the benefit tonight and to to be working. I mean, I'm so happy. It is, I mean, we usually have like 130 at the art house. This is 80 seats about, because everybody has to be spaced out, and they do a great job doing that. But I said at the beginning I would come perform for 5 people. I didn't care. My husband and I, he said, let's just go and support the town. And if we are allowed to do shows, we'll do them for whoever's there. It doesn't matter. So Provincetown has been so good to me for so long. So it's so great to be
Well,
here.
I think also people should know. So you and I have been had been talking through the whole pandemic. Oh, look, we've got an image. Hold on, wait, I'm getting a message. We're getting an image. Okay, put it up, please. Okay, here's the thing. Benefit for Provincetown Performing Arts Fund. So there it is. So Provincetown Performing Arts Fund.com at the Crown and Anchor. It's tonight. Now the old eyes can't see. What time is it tonight?
It's at 7:00, and it's
okay.
I think it's sold. It's completely sold. It's sold out in a few minutes.
Well, then fuck
Dina and Richfield together, which is a great combination. That's never happened before. And
I was just gonna say that must be fun for you.
Oh my God, it's so much fun. And to write a number, we sing that Joni Mitchell song. That Joni Mitchell song, a Big Yellow Taxi, in Paradise, and they pay Paradise, and now it's a parking lot or whatever, because Richfield's performing in a parking lot. So
God, that's gonna be hysterical.
I'm singing poolside, and I'm in a parking lot. It's very funny. So
well, that's it. I mean, again, now with the limited audience, and it's 80 people, they are socially distancing. They are what, like 25 feet from the stage?
25 feet from me. Yeah, I'm not. I'm going to stop shaving. Why bother? Right.
Right. I say just perform like this. It's fine.
Yeah, I know. So I mean, I have to tell you, I don't really spend that much time blending, because the eye does it. It's like really like. And also sometimes I'm performing in a marine layer, so it's this beautiful fog.
It's very helpful to those of us of a certain age.
Yes, I know. But look, I do have a bathing suit. Yeah, there it is, right
there. It is. Oh, well, pretty. Yeah. And I know the gown.
You can't do a show next to a pool and not use the pool.
I would hope not, but you can't do any meet and greets also, right?
No, it's wonderful.
So Judy and I were talking Tuesday about meet and greets, and we've all done meet and greets, and how somebody will come up, particularly to a comic, and say, I really didn't like that joke, or that offended me. Do you get that?
Very rarely. I could count them on one hand in my life, but I definitely have received comments. I remember I did a joke, something in one of my Christmas shows many years ago, where my piano player, I dedicated a song to Barbra Streisand, because her arrangement of Jingle Bells, and my piano player said, Barbra Streisand, but the Jews killed Christ. And I was like, what? But anyway, somebody got upset with me, and I'll never forget. Isn't that funny? I remember the few times. I remember another time. Yeah, I did the song Baby Velveeta, which was about my daughter, and I did have her with a beer bottle at one point, a child with a beer bottle. And at the time, I'm in my 20s. I'm like, that's hilarious. Now I look back and I'm like, oh my God, that's just, it's just funny how.
Well, I think that, that's what Judy and I were talking about, is until something sort of hits you as offensive, you don't really understand why someone else. I was telling Judy on Tuesday that I had gone to see French and Saunders in London at their farewell tour, and they used to do a skit where they were extras on James Cameron's Titanic, and Dawn French would walk around with a doll, and she would just keep screaming, "Mercy for my dead baby," so that she'd get more airtime. And I used to say that because I thought it was funny, until a friend of mine's daughter died at 1 year old, and I said, it's not as funny if you have a dead baby.
Yes, and so that's and that's been a challenging thing doing a
because do you still cabaret. Make the joke? Right.
Yeah, because my show is about COVID. Would I do an AIDS show and make fun of AIDS? Would I do a cancer show and make fun of cancer? No,
you might now.
Yeah, I know, but you have to read the audience, and even I do a song to that Sade song, "Smooth." No need to ask, he's a smooth operator. That song, and I do "Don't wear a mask, get a cruel ventilator."
That's
Mark
great.
Portale, Mark Portale, my manager, you can't do that. That's too dark. And of course, I did it anyway, and it was a huge hit. But it just when everyone's together, sometimes something can be funnier. but it can be the opposite. Something's hilarious to a friend, and to a crowd, you have just committed murder. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
comedy, you have to weigh it. You never know. And comedy is about when you do something. I mean,
Right. It's moving always.
Yes. I mean, a few years ago, I did Gone with the Wind with all white people, it's like, and it wasn't racist, it wasn't anything, but you can't do something like that now. I
Well,
mean, I look back, Carol Burnett did it. Carol Burnett did an
right.
all white person, Gone with the
Right.
Wind.
And I will also point out that show was called A Little White Music. And the point of the show was talking about the inequities of white people versus black people in representation. So again, I think you really have to look at the intent.
But here's the problem. Irony does not work on the internet. Someone reads it's face value. Irony does not. So do you want to put something out there that someone's not going to quite get? Even with my show Super Spreader, I'm constantly saying in the show Super Spreader of good cheer. And in the the ad, it's me as a cheerleader. So I constantly say that. But I was a little worried that maybe people wouldn't be on board, so you just pray for the best. But a little white
the other thing, people should know that this particular show, Super Spreader, and let's show the image again. There she is as the cheerleader, Super Spreader. And you can't really see, but under Spreader, her legs are completely spread. And I've seen you do those splits. But people should know, you and I were talking like literally 4 days before you went to Provincetown, and you're like, I have to write a show.
Yeah.
Right now in 4 days.
And I'll have your idea about consider yourself at risk is in the show. I wrote the whole thing. Consider. I make lots of drop bullets.
See,
it's funny.
Well, the thing is, what I love doing and what I usually do, which I haven't done this year, usually I go to your show at the beginning of the season.
Right.
And that's also the first time you're trying it out. And you're like, is it too far? Is it not far enough? Is there a joke missing? And I love that because you're always tweaking it. You're such a perfectionist. You're so smart. You read a room better than anyone I know.
Well, I mean, I've had so long, I guess, to do it now. You know what I mean? And what's
and
really
you fail,
interesting,
you have to fail. You have to be willing to fail.
Yes. Very much so. You have to know that some things are just not going to work. Also, if you perform in a place like Provincetown, it's not like you're just performing for your fans. People are just stumbling in there. So you don't get to ride on that wave of everything she does is hilarious. You also have to prove yourself. You know what I mean? Like, sometimes you have to prove yourself night after night, and that really makes you do a certain type of material that you're not riding on your laurels because you can't.
Well, in moment by moment, because sometimes you'll get them at the beginning, but I've seen a lot of performers lose them because that goodwill at the beginning doesn't last the whole show.
Right. No, it doesn't. Yeah. Yes, I know that.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, unfortunately.
And speaking of writing, I know because this month I'm celebrating 25 years of writing my column every week. And I've pissed so many people off. Yeah. And because they, at the begining in particular, they didn't know my voice. So you don't know how to take something. You really have to earn that.
Yes.
So what are the difficulties of performing outside this year and having distance? Because I always think comedy, too much air can kill comedy. You need the intimacy.
I know. Yeah. And also you can't control the temperature. So when it's really, really hot, as you know, the heat kills comedy.
Yeah. Right. And kills makeup.
Yeah, I know. Just
you've got problems. You've got padding. You've got a lot going on.
I come out, I think, in a hazmat suit. It's this white plastic suit.
Oh, God.
Oh, my God. We're dying some nights. We're dying. I'm like, why did I do this? But we do a funny thing where we show a UV light on it, and you can only imagine.
Oh, my God. That must
Gerald
be hysterical.
accused me of wearing it to the dick doc. So, yeah, I mean, what was I saying? I can't even remember.
The distance and air for comedy.
Yes, distance. So it is a challenge. I mean, to engage people, and not just have them kind of watching you on a phone screen. They're so far back. That's what it's like. They're watching you on TV. So,
and it's also you're outside, which also has to make it difficult.
Oh yeah, and you get hecklers on the beach now and then, or
Do
somebody at
you?
the
Wow.
yeah, just a little, and you get some of the people on the restaurant, who are having their their bridesmaid party, yeah, are in the back of the audience basically. So I mean, it's challenging, but it's a great space. It's so beautiful, and there's something magical about. I mean, Cape Cod Bay has been the subject of many songs, and I mean, it
Mhm.
is a beautiful bay. It looks like an opera set some nights. That the moon
Right.
will come up and it's this orange and turns to yellow, and then you see the water looks like I like to say like hefty bags. It's so pretty. That's
Oh, you're
classy.
such a
Yeah,
romantic.
I know.
So just
And so
because
it's
I
beautiful.
want to show people what the set looks like. So there's a
Yeah, yeah.
picture right there, so you can see how far people are away from you. But again,
Yes.
even there with the trees, you can't really see the sea, but you see the swimming pool. It's gorgeous, and the lighting is
Yes.
beautiful
And people who are seated next to each other, you should note that they were
in the same group.
in the same group, and so the other group is placed like 6 to 10 feet behind them, and they're all spaced out. So
Yep.
every night kind of has a different capacity because you have to go on how many parties people have, and there's lots of single seats around, and I mean it is what it is. It's just so great to be working. I mean, as you know, performers, we just don't do it for the audience. We have a need
Right.
inside ourselves to show off or to express ourselves, and so I'm sure for many of my colleagues that aren't here, it's hard, it's depressing to not be performing. I mean, to people, just as a lot of people are glad they don't have to go to work until the money runs out, but
Yeah.
performers want to work not just solely for the money. So it's I'm sure it's very difficult.
Yeah,
So I'm
and
lucky.
I think it's just amazing. I have given kudos repeatedly to Rick Murray for coming up with the idea because
Yeah.
um he had never had outdoor shows to the best of my
No.
knowledge, and so built this from scratch.
Yeah.
Contacted Mark Cortale from the Art House,
Yeah.
who's also your manager, and
Yes.
said, let's get your artists in here, and I think it's
Yeah.
great. And
Oh my God,
also
it's
I
so
think
great.
it's a
Yeah.
great feeling of community for
Yeah, spirit,
Provincetown.
yes. Because obviously they've been big competitors for a very long time,
Yep.
and and so for them to come together was really sort of amazing, and it's a magical space. It truly is. It is the magic of P-Town. It's magical, and people are so desperate for anything. And maybe that's taking up some of the space. They're so far, but they actually are more engaged because they have not been
Oh,
to a show in 6 months.
well,
So
sure.
they
Where
are
are they going to
on the edge of
go?
their seat, right? So they're on the edge of their seat. So I think this year, you weigh the two things, but they're so hungry that you can feed them from way far back.
Yeah, but there was a great piece in the New York Times this weekend with a great picture of you, by the way, as you
Oh, I
know.
saw that. Well, it wasn't a
Uh,
great picture.
well, but it was a sweaty picture, which I also loved. Oh, I don't
And he
know
was
if I
also
have it here.
he was
No, I don't.
laying on the floor. What
What were
who
you
does a
doing?
well, I was on stage, but he was trying not to be seen by the audience, so he was laying on the pool side while I'm
Oh,
standing.
looking up.
Oh, it was this angle.
So for people who didn't see it, wait, do we have it? We do. Hold on.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah. Well, that's not too bad for them. But look at the chins and look how wet. I'm so hot.
Wet, no, wet. I know, but I thought to myself, one of the great things that you said in the article, you outlined, competitors coming together and said, obviously the world is coming to an end.
And desperate times, so that's that, and it was, but it's so great that they did come together, and Rick is wonderful and so professional, and
And so
and every,
smart.
yeah, and there's nothing that's not figured out. I mean, it's all figured out and was ready to go. He had that space ready to go a long time ago, and that's how we even saw it. We saw a picture on Facebook. He said, and at that time, a lot of entertainers were not interested in coming to Provincetown, but I was like, I'm there.
Really?
Oh yeah, a lot of
Oh, I
people
didn't
didn't
know
want to
that.
come. Yeah, it just wasn't that. I'm actually probably the only one that said yes right away. I'm the
And
only
that's
one.
why you got the best slots.
Yeah, it's actually true. I mean, because a lot of people were still scared, and I totally get it. But I kind of lived in a bubble in Fort Lauderdale. But we got out of there way before, and I just was ready to go. We just thought we would. My husband's fearless anyway, and so we just said, let's go. We spaced ourselves out in plenty of time for the show, and then we got here, and then, gosh, I had the time in my room to go over stuff, and it was
Oh,
kind of
tell the
great.
story. Tell the story. You and I talked before. At one point, you were in Fort Lauderdale, and you had to go up to New Orleans, to your place in New Orleans. How did you do that? Because that was really harrowing. You did it all in a day?
Yeah, I did it all in a day, and I was refinancing my house because, I was very worried about what was going on. And so I had this idea to do this in February. So I got approved, and thank God I did, because I wouldn't have been approved after, because I didn't have any jobs. I had to show that I had work. And by that point, things weren't shut down. So I'm very lucky I got approved. And then I went there to refinance, and it was kind of right in the middle. And, I had Lysol, and I had like 2 masks on, that a friend and a face mask and gloves, and that was before I had my hip redone, so I was like limping.
Right, your hip surgery was canceled. I was able to get my shoulder surgery just under the wire. You were scheduled like the week after.
Yes, and it got canceled, and then I got
but you did get
September,
it done.
and then I got it done in May, because they were only allowing surgeries where people could go home that same day. And a lot of older people, if they get their hip done, have to stay overnight. And I literally went in at 7 and was out by 2:00 walking home.
Well, mine was the same thing. I was in there. I had to be there at 6 a.m. I was out by 1. Same thing. How is your hip doing?
Oh, it's so great. I mean, I can't believe how great this surgeon is. And I can say his name, Dr. Burke, in Fort Lauderdale. If you need a hip replacement, Florida's where to go. It's your life. And
well, they know about broken hips.
Yeah, at Holy Cross. And so, it was amazing. I mean, it was fine. I mean, the first week I was high on drugs, of course. The second week it hurt. And the third week it was kind of gone. But I was walking the stairs at our house. I thought I was going to have to, I didn't know what we were going to do. I was going to sleep downstairs. I walked the stairs the next morning. Slowly.
Wow.
Yeah, it's been a great surgery, knock on wood, again, and I'm working out again like I used to.
And you had physical therapy during this time.
Oh, he said I was not allowed to go to the gym. I could only go to physical therapy. He didn't want me lifting weights and coming off balance. And so I went to physical therapy, a great physical therapist, this guy named Carson at SoFlo PT. And I just did everything they said, and I was religious about. I mean, I did everything he said, pre-op, post-op, everything. I did exactly what they said. And if that's
I can see the new show, Varla Jean Merman, pre-op.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. Well, I can't use hip because Varla Jean Merman and hip have never really been used in a sentence before.
That's true.
That's that old Liza line. Oh.
Love it.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you were able to do physical therapy because a lot of places were closed.
Yeah. It was. Yeah, I'm so lucky. It was just great, and they were very cautious at this place. Everything was sprayed and wiped before you could even put it down. I mean, so I felt really comfortable being there. And that's the thing too, when we opened the show here, people were going to talk. So, Rick Murray has everything wiped down and everything's spaced out. So, people have to feel comfortable to go to a show. And I think people know that. Yeah. And it's outside. So, which
that
I
helps.
think air conditioning is could play a big part in the spread of this thing. So
yeah, but if it weren't outside, you couldn't do a show. Provincetown is not allowing any indoor shows.
No, I don't think anywhere is, right? I mean, what's going on?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. And I bet after this, I won't do another show till next year. I can't imagine that's not online. I've actually found a place that maybe later that I can do outdoor shows. We'll see. I'll let you know about that when it has. And that'll be much later.
And let's let people know that they can get tickets only at thecrown.com.
Yes.
Again, get your tickets in advance. If you're going to go to Provincetown, let's talk about being in Provincetown this summer because now we got too many Chirons. What is the atmosphere? Now, I was there 4th of July. It certainly did not feel like a 4th of July. It felt like a slow Labor Day is what it felt like.
Yeah, I know, right? Well, so it is weird to have no tea dance. And, so much of Provincetown is about being close to people, being close to strangers, rubbing up against people at tea dance.
Why do you think I go? Right.
Yeah, I know. So many people. So it is weird to it's much quieter and I think people are enjoying the nature of Provincetown, which there's some beautiful things here, the bike trails. And so I think people are enjoying that. But it is very quiet. So if someone comes here thinking it's going to be like it was last year, it's not the same. Now, it's still a beautiful place to be. And there's still great people here. And, you can still, go and have a drink and have something to eat spaced out from people, but it's not the same. But it's still, I mean, it's better than nothing. Let me tell you, because a lot of the world is not even allowing that. In New Orleans, where I'm from, which is, based on tourism, the whole city, there's none of that going on. And
Obviously, right. I mean, you're
so we're
lucky you
lucky
have
here.
tourists coming.
Yeah, and they follow the rules here, and everybody has worn a mask from the minute I got here. So
And there
people
are those
following the rules.
ambassadors. The city is paying
Walking
these
up and
people.
down.
They're
Yeah.
called ambassadors. They give you single-use masks. They have a little sash on. I mean, they're fabulous.
Yeah.
We got questions for you. So first, well, I know the answer, but Varla, is your P-Tone show tonight being streamed? Could you sing into a can of spray cheese?
Well, first of all, I'm lactose intolerant now. I don't do that.
A little lactate before a show never hurt.
Yeah, I know. And second, no, it's not being streamed, but hopefully after the end of the season, I may do the show online. So I'm
that would be
definitely going
great.
to do that after the season's over, of course.
And also, I should point out, you were, during the coronavirus, you were doing shows of your own. Those shorts were hysterical.
Yeah, I did those, and that was a lot of fun. I mean, it was interesting. And talking about things that are offensive, I mean, I went back and there were things I had to edit out of these videos that were funny back then and now just not that funny.
Oh, wow. I didn't know you did that.
Oh, I had to edit quite a bit of things, or also some things were
explain them. You did explain a lot.
Yeah, and I had to explain all the backstories that went into them, but that was so much fun. But I think I showed more than 60 videos in that series. Yeah.
And you also had people around who had helped put them together.
Yes, Jacques Lamar, who writes to me, Michael Shirali, who's done so many with me, and my vid kid Timo, and so many people worked on those. And it's funny to go back, and sometimes I just won't like a video, or it doesn't, sometimes a video is hilarious at home watching, but when you put it in a show, it has to have a certain rhythm, and it has to have a beginning, middle, and end, and a bump. It has to have a big button at the end. We call it in showbiz a button, where people are yay. And sometimes a video just kind of ends in a different way, like a film can do. They don't have to end with that. It doesn't work in a live show.
And you and I have talked about this, is that in your live shows, you have had videos, and there are some videos that you say, these need to be a pre-show video because they can't fit in the middle of the show, because it just sort of sits there. It peters off.
Yes. Yeah. And
so,
because you have to have a rhythm in a show. A number has to be better, or it has to be a different tone. And sometimes they just don't work in a show, which doesn't mean it was a bad video. But I wasn't wise enough to not know that back then. I just thought, oh, this video is bad. But when you replay it to people sitting there watching it, it takes on a different thing, and also when it's in someone's retrospective, of their life, it takes on a different feel as well. So,
especially when you can talk about it and explain it. Like, I had never known the whole story about going to Japan and getting the Hello Kitty toaster. Which was my favorite story. It was hysterical, and seeing the tourists looking at you.
Yeah, and it was it was kind of weird. It was like I had finally gotten the job in the Broadway show Chicago, and it was in Japan, which was so weird that the day before I was looking at that toaster. So I just thought it's all meant to be. God
serendipity.
Hello Kitty toaster. Don't use the hand sanitizer; it'll kill you.
Oh, Jesus. Okay,
so we got hand sanitizer has methanol in it.
Oh, Jesus. All right. Well, you can drink it, I guess. Okay. So Richard J. Alexander just says Varla. I guess that's
I love Richard. The great
We love
Richard.
Alexander. Yes. Oh, speaking of the great Jim Caruso, this is a great conversation.
Oh, I love Jim too. You have some heavy hitters watching out there.
Well, let's see. Robert L. says it's not Provincetown summer.
I should have put on a wig. Oh my God.
Oh, Jesus. It's not a P-Town summer unless there's Varla. Such a great talent. No one does dragon humidity better than Varla.
Well, I did grow up in New Orleans. I have had a little experience. Back in the day in New Orleans, when we did big events, we would take antiperspirant and roll it on our faces before we put our makeup on.
No. Does that work?
Yeah, because you don't sweat. Just take antiperspirant under your arms. You don't sweat there. Now you sweat everywhere else, but you don't sweat there. So you would not sweat on your face. You do your roll on, let it dry, and then apply your base.
So if you got a spray, you could just spray yourself.
Yeah, it clogs the pores. It's wonderful. You just get bigger like a Macy's balloon.
Okay, and Jerome says, I adore Varla. Can't wait to see her this month. Oh, Jerome's on his way. Good.
Yeah, get here quick, Jerome. And
Yeah, really, because
if you're not from New England, you need a COVID test within 72 hours.
August 1st, it just started this weekend. Yep.
Yeah, and now Rhode Island, I think if you even come from Rhode Island, you have to have a COVID test. So I mean,
Oh,
our
I didn't
audience
know
is
that.
dwindling. Come fast. Yeah,
Sorry.
yeah,
It's going to be if
yeah.
you're
That
on
just
the other
happened.
side of the
I don't know
Sagamore
if it's a
Bridge, you
definite or
need
they're
one.
considering it.
Yeah, well, all right.
Yeah,
Uh,
from churro.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Trevor says, so great to see Viola's shorts this summer. Well, it's always good seeing Viola's
Thank
shorts.
you, Trevor. Yeah.
And of course, Robert L. Have gay audiences and sensibilities changed over the years? Well, let me answer quickly.
Okay.
I don't know if the sensibility has changed, but the topics have changed and their reaction to certain topics. Like Varla said, during the AIDS crisis, when it first started, it was hard to make a joke about it. Today, you can make a joke. It doesn't bite as much because comedy is time. You need time. But what do you think?
Definitely. The biggest thing that has changed, and this isn't just for gay audiences, it's for everyone. I could do a video like that Hello Kitty video was 6 minutes long. I couldn't do anything 6 minutes long now. I mean, I was going to put Meadowlark in the show this year, and it was 5 minutes. I'm like,
it's a 10-minute song. Right, exactly.
You can't do that. The audiences here have, especially next to a pool, which sets a tone.
There is that.
You know what I mean? I'm not in the Vile recital hall. It is, you have to do a certain type of material, and it just has to be very quickly edited. I will edit something down so much until I have to add some back because I just cut too much. But
has there been
people's attention spans?
Have there been changes in the show so far this summer? Like, have you tried things at the beginning that you've said, I've got to take this out or trim it?
Well, it's funny because I had a show, I had a song in the show to, my hair. And the lady in the Times opens with that but I actually cut that the night after she was there because I throw the poodle in the wig and I had a funny Randy Roberts joke, who's a friend of ours. But it just wasn't right for the show. It was kind of out there. I was thinking I'm outside the humidity, but then I added a song I did years ago, the What a Wonderful World, the Louis Armstrong song.
Oh, sure.
Which the reason why I added, because that song was actually written during the biggest race riots in our country in the 67, 69. We had big race riots in Detroit and in New York, and the writers of that song wrote it in response to the race riots to try to remind people that it's a wonderful world.
I had never known that story. You sang it and told the story at the end of A Little White Music, I believe.
Yes, there's that show again.
God, I know way
too. And they were two white guys. They were two, Jewish guys who wrote this song, and people got mad at Louis Armstrong, particularly African Americans were very upset. He sang this beautiful song about this ideal world at a time when the race conditions they've been bad for a long time, let's face it, but at the time of these riots, and people were furious with him. And there's a famous quote. He said, people were like, how can you sing this song at a time like this? You're betraying us. It is not a wonderful world. And Louis Armstrong said, it is a wonderful world. What we're doing to it is not.
That's so smart.
I know, right? And just what a great response. And so it's just so interesting. So I can bring that into the show, since I had to touch a little bit on Black Lives Matter. Just if you don't say something, then you're saying nothing. So I didn't want to do that.
I had a show last week, the Broadway Bears show, and I had Jerry Mitchell on, and I had like 6 big Broadway stars on. And somebody said to me afterwards, they said, oh, not a single star of color. It had never occurred to me that it was all white, because we don't see that, especially if it's not your intent. But then I thought, I had asked some Black performers, some Latin performers, and I just had on whoever said yes. But if you're looking for things like that, you'll notice more. I think the more your eyes are open.
Well, I did a video too with Logo about Stonewall, and then someone brought up, some people play it all the time of year, and they're like, there's hardly anyone of color in this video. And I'm like, oh my God, well, I didn't make the video, but still I'm like, oh my God, there's not,
and you never even noticed, right?
And it would have been so easy to paint. And so you just think, why did it happen? And just, it's something that you have to be aware of, that, people are represented in the proper way. And sometimes, I think, all of us who are white have been guilty of that, whether and you don't have to be racist just to to be that way. So it's just something you have to be conscious of, you know, just
Yeah.
be conscious of it.
Well, I think it's also great that when you have friends, like I have a friend who's Asian who said to me, you didn't have anyone of color. I think you have to have diverse friends who talk to you and know your heart. And they say it to you so that you know, they know it wasn't intentional, but they're educating you through their eyes.
No, that's true. Yes, and true. And so you know, it's interesting because to do comedy also in that sort of environment, it's a challenge, you know. I mean, not everything can you make fun of, but like you said, time is comedy, and not that any of that is funny, but
I'm so thrilled you are making fun of COVID. I think you have to. And I think at this time that we're, you know, the AIDS epidemic was more, I don't want to say segregated, but it was a segment of the population. So it's one thing to talk about that. This is something that's affecting everyone. And I think when there's a universality about it, you can make jokes because everyone needs that release.
Yes. And I will say, I have a dear friend in Fort Lauderdale who's a nurse. And when the first, and he's a wonderful, wonderful person. And when COVID was breaking and, you know, people were quarantining and starting to not hang around each other. You know, he had friends that that wouldn't hang out with him because they were so scared. And it just reminded him of when he had turned positive. And it was this big trigger of kind of the same thing that he's now experienced again. And actually this time he's saving lives and people didn't want to be close to him. You know, because people were afraid back then. They didn't want to be close to you even. They were scared. And you know, it was really hard for him to deal with, and I felt, I mean, I felt for him. You know, it's hard, but to find light in all that, and then to find, I mean, you just can't make any joke. I mean, but you know, there are there are funny things because the world. And I talked to Miss Coco about this. I said, what do I need to say? Because you know, she's a master at you know, using the English language. I mean, I asked her, do I need to say anything? And she goes, you say one sentence. And she goes, and you already know what that is. And I told her what it is. She goes, that's it. So you had the power all the time, Dorothy.
Yeah, exactly.
So, I mean, but it was scary because you just think, is this funny? Because it is about something people are dying of, and which is, but
and if somebody has, if somebody came to your show to laugh and they have a brother or sister or child who had it or died, it could be a trigger for them. But on the other hand, what can you do? You cannot control everything.
Because I knew there's going to be somebody in the audience who's someone very close to them has died of this. So you have to keep that in mind. You have to keep that in mind. But the whole point of the show turns out is not so much about COVID, but about and Gerald plays this beautiful. I sing "Close to You" in the show, and I show a lot of the queens that are not here this summer, and just talk about how Provincetown is a summer camp for us entertainers because
it is
when no other city does it. Like if we all perform in New York City at Laurie Beachman, we're all one after another. We're not there at the same time.
There's not a community, right?
No. So Provincetown, that's one of the main reasons people want to be here is to be with all the other entertainers. It is a summer camp. How often, you know, people are very lucky in theater. They get to commiserate and go out and do stuff together. But when you're doing a one-person show,
you're one person.
And your assistant won't go out and have a beer with you anymore.
Brian, go out and have a beer, for fuck's sake.
She's too busy.
Well, you know, that dick doc isn't going to suck itself.
I know. Well, this year, no one's going. It's like, oh my God.
I'm guessing. Yeah, I was just thinking. So many people have asked me. But anyway, all right. I've got to put you backstage. I got to get to our next guest. But you'll be back.
Thank you so much, Billy. Oh, I will? Am I staying here?
You're staying. Don't go anywhere.
All right. You got it.
You watch. Our next guest, one of my favorite people. I adore him. He's a member of Well Strung, the singing string quartet. I have known them since they began. He has his own show in Provincetown, Edmund Bagnell. He plays the violin, but he does a lot more than that. He sings, he plays other instruments. He's a little bit of a musical genius, and I adore him. Edmund Bagnell. Hello, honey.
Hey, great to see you, Billy.
Good seeing you. First off, it's got to be weird for you being in Provincetown this summer.
It is so weird, but so welcome.
I bet.
We can all relate. You know, after 4 months in one place, it was like, please, regardless of performing, I just want a change of scene. So I was happy to be here in any capacity.
And your opening was last night. You're there Wednesday nights. I should just look at the ad again. Wednesday nights at 7 p.m.
That's
So
right.
people
Last night,
get your
one
tickets.
down.
How'd it go?
It was great. It was really, really cool. It's so interesting talking about the space because I feel like different kind of venues inform how you perform. Like a cabaret
Absolutely.
space with the little candles. That's one type,
Mhm.
or a performing arts center. That's a very different type. So
Mhm.
it's a gorgeous space. I'm there performing in broad daylight, sunset, basically.
Oh, right, 7 o'clock, right?
7 o'clock. So it's really I can look out, I can see everybody, and I'm usually not the type of performer to really do a lot of eye contact, but I
Mhm.
found myself. I was so grateful just to be in front of a live audience. I think I was kind of silently looking at everybody and just being like, "Thank you for being here," and it was very exciting for me.
It was probably your first show well, certainly since COVID, but how long had it been since you performed last?
It was March. I was actually in Puerto Vallarta,
Oh,
and
okay, you did go down there.
I got down there kind of right at the wrong time, basically right as everything was shut down. So I did 3 shows and kind of every day, just, first the bars closed on the restaurants and, limit show capacity and then none. And then I hightailed it back to the States.
How was it scary being out of the country when this all started?
At first I was prepared to stay for my entire run, just,
Which was how long? How long were you supposed to be
a
there?
little over a month,
Okay.
so I was
Was
gonna be
this
there.
you alone or with the boys?
It was just me. It was just me.
you.
Yeah, yeah. My boyfriend was there,
And
so
and your pianist, you have a pianist too, don't you?
I do. I've actually been lucky to use a few different really wonderful pianists. So there was the house pianist at Encanto, Mark Hartman, and he is fantastic. So I got to play with him down there.
Oh,
And,
okay. So, but you're there with your boyfriend, and so tell me about how it went.
well, it was good, because I've been going to Puerto Vallarta for so many years. There is, like Provincetown, and you and Jeff were talking about, there is a wonderful performer community down there. So, I was hanging out with Suddenly Seymour and Chichi Rones and, all these people that I love. So, I was like, well, let's just have margaritas on the beach and try this out. But the U.S. At one point was like, come back now or be prepared to stay. So we went
And
back.
so when was the decision to come back? Was that made? Did they close the shows or did you get out of there? What was the reasoning?
No, they closed the shows. Yeah,
Oh, they did.
That happened within the week of getting down there.
Were you still having audiences up until then? Were people still coming or were they skittish?
No, I would definitely say, I mean, even the plane ride down, because I've been going to Puerto Vallarta for, I don't know, 6 years now.
Yeah.
And the plane ride down felt empty.
Really?
I mean, I was prepared to go, because, I got all geared up to do the show and everything, but something was clearly already in the air, and town definitely.
Literally.
Yes, it's in the air. Not just love.
So you were quarantining at your house. Now your house is it upstate New York? Where are you?
Upstate New York. That's
Right.
right.
Okay. Been a while.
Yeah.
You bought a fixer-upper with a lot of land, and
stop.
and so I assume now, knowing you, I'm assuming that while you're quarantining, you're keeping yourself busy.
I think I've been busier than I ever have in a way. Yeah, I mean, so working on the house certainly, was a real opportunity because, used to traveling with Well Strung and also starting to travel with my own solo show.
Right.
I'm used to every couple of weeks, time to fly somewhere, but obviously none of that. So started all these house projects, but also I challenged myself, how can I stay creatively active, at home. I've done a few shows of this, but more so I've been trying to work on my own album. So that's my goal. So I set up a little recording studio in a closet, and back in the closet.
Yeah, it's all right.
And so that's been really, really fun to work on this project and try to think in a different way.
Yeah, and that actually, I guess, for some big creative who has these things on his agenda, the time off is like, okay, well, I have no excuse. Let's tackle it and let's start working on it.
No excuse, yeah.
How is it performing on your own versus performing with the other 3 guys? Because you guys have been together, like you said, 6 years?
9 years. We've been together
No,
9 years.
oh my God. First of all, we should clarify. So, the guys, I presume you are still together. You're not officially broken up or anything. You're
Oh,
just
no,
doing
no.
your own project, but there is still Well Strung still exists.
Oh, we still exist. We had dates this spring and summer that, obviously went by the wayside. But no, we're still together, and now dates keep getting pushed further and further out. But I think spring 2021 will hopefully.
So how is it then for you to step out on your own and be alone on stage, well, with a pianist, but really very exposed in having to carry a whole show yourself?
It's been thrilling. I mean, I think with Well Strung, we all at this point after 9 years, we all know our role. We all kind of know what our strengths are. We know kind of when we want to do an arrangement, how we want to approach it and everything. So putting this together, I can't say I did it alone. I had help from Mark Bertale, Michael Shirali, the director, Matt Almond, my pianist, who helped put this together too, did beautiful arrangements. So I did feel like I had a nice team around me. But it's interesting because, I had to kind of figure out who am I on stage?
Yeah, alone.
I know what I do with Well Strung, but that's a different thing. That's not going to carry a show. So it was kind of fun to dig back to a further past of mine and see what speaks to me and who do I want to be. But it's so thrilling to perform alone. But I think the moment that really caught me was my very first show back in October when we did the workshop. I paused
in Provincetown.
In Provincetown, love Provincetown. I paused to take a sip of water on stage, and I just felt the eyes on me in that moment, because well strung, somebody else could be talking.
Danny might be talking, right, or whatever.
Exactly.
Right.
Somebody else can be doing something. It's of course it's fine, but it's just the show's not moving until I move. Sense of power.
Well, also, I don't know how much material overlap, but I know alone, don't you do Moon River still?
I do Moon River. That is
okay.
kind of the one.
Is that it?
That's the one carryover.
So what is it like doing that on your own versus doing it with Well Strung? Is it similar, or do you have to kind of rethink the song?
I actually kind of hit the same beats in a way that was kind of my love letter to Well Strung. Everything I love about Well Strung. I think that song is so optimistic, and it's got your heart on the sleeve, Moon River. So the arrangement, the beats of the arrangement are pretty much there. Obviously there's no vocal harmony or any of that because it's just me singing, but it's got a very similar structure.
Yeah, and also I guess you have to be more exposed as a person. You have to really share more of yourself. What have you learned about yourself doing this? Because I find anytime I've done a show, and I know Varla and I have talked about this, anytime you do a show and you're being funny, but you're also bringing more of yourself each time. So when you're alone, you're really much more exposed.
Absolutely. That's a great question. I think, really face this back in October. What do I want to say? Who do I want to be? I think I found, one thing. I would say I'm singing a bit differently. This is a slightly cop-out answer, but, I'm singing kind of different material than what Well Strung would do. I'm doing some jazz stuff, and I'm doing
really
theater, and, so I would say I'm singing kind of in a different style. So, and I found that this is music that really, really speaks to me. And I still do some contemporary pop too, of course. But that was a real thing for me. This is the music I really like and I want to do.
Yeah, there's no negotiating. It's with a group, you have to say, well, I like this song. I don't like this song. What do you do? Or I want to sing lead. Well, too bad. I'm singing lead. I know before Well Strung, if I'm not mistaken, it just came to me. Didn't you perform in Sweeney Todd?
I did. I did a lot of theater. So that of course is in my show. I have a big Sondheim medley because he's one of my very, very favorites. And I talk about, my theatrical past. And in a way, the theme of the show is kind of being a fish out of water because I grew up playing the violin. And, but I kind of always had this love of theater. So I'd be there like at violin camp, but I'm listening to like Stephen Sondheim in my headphones. I'm not listening to, classical music. And then and then I'd go and do a theater show, and then I'd kind of be like, huh, I've got this violin instrumental side to myself as well. So in a way, I guess that's kind of what I learned about myself, is the reconciling of these two worlds.
Yeah, I think that you and I have noticed a difference. I haven't seen this show, but I've noticed a difference over the years with you doing the show because I know you fairly well, not as well as I'm going to once I see a solo show, I'm sure. But I've really seen all of you kind of blossom in your own different ways, and you really stepping up and becoming much more confident on stage over the years, more of a leader, more sure of yourself. So it seems to me a very easy progression at this point. Whereas 6, 7, 8 years ago, maybe it would have been a scarier thing to do.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And it just little things like, now with Well Strung, I have a lot of experience arranging. So when I'm,
Mhm.
trying to go do these recordings, I'm like, oh, I've got this skill set that I really didn't have 8 years ago, and I know how I want to approach the arc of a song and what sounds good to me and what I like. Uh, yeah, as well as you say, kind of getting your sea legs with Well Strung was such an interesting way of performing, because I've been coming from the theater world where
Mhm.
everything's so set and so scripted, and of course we had a very set show, but still we were such a different product, than
Yeah.
so many other things. It it was interesting to see how we found what worked and what didn't work, and what we like to talk about, and really what kind of music we like to play, and what worked for our instrumentation. So yeah, I would say, looking back at those first years, which I'm incredibly proud of where we started, I also, it's fun to see the journey of where we ended up.
And what has changed now since you started a year ago? I mean, are there things that you've either taken out and said, nope, this doesn't work for me, or said, oh, you know what? I'm going to add this in because it says something to me?
I feel very fortunate that I think we crafted a really tight show back in October, and we've made little tweaks to the dialogue here and there. In Puerto Vallarta, I needed to do a longer show, so I added in some
Oh,
material. But I feel very proud of the show we've crafted. So it's pretty close to what we did in October. Obviously,
really?
it'll continue to evolve. And coming back next summer, obviously, don't want to do the exact same show, but
Of course.
yeah, yeah. I
Is
think
it something you could do that if you were there in the summer, could you be with Well Strung and have a solo show?
I suppose so. Why not? Yeah,
I mean, if Varla's doing Varla and Judy and Varla on her own, I mean, I
that's
suppose
right.
you could. Where did you start from? Did you start studying violin to be a classical musician? Did you want to be a theater performer? Where did you start?
I was kind of a quiet kid. I loved, loved, loved watching movies. That was like, just that classic thing. You go to a movie and you just kind of fall in love with what's going on the big screen. I remember the movie Home Alone came out, and I was like 5 or something, and it really hit me, not just like I liked the story in the movie, but there was something like deeper, like that's an actor that is getting to do this role, and he's getting to like be behind the scenes and do this whole, theatrical experience. Uh, and I was like, I really want to get into that world. I started playing the violin at 7. My grandparents bought me a violin, and that's really how I started performing. And I liked performing. I hated practicing, but I liked performing, and it's stuck with me ever since.
And what about acting?
Acting, I guess probably true for so many people. In high school, I had a really wonderful drama teacher, Donna Wilson, in South Carolina,
Mhm.
and she really, really, really encouraged me and gave me a great platform to perform. And that was my first exposure to being in a show. So I was quickly obsessed. Then I went to New York, and I went to NYU as a
Mhm.
violin major. But because I was in the city, I would also go out to like auditions and audition for summer stock and all that
Oh,
sort of stuff. So I was kind of always having this dual life of like, while I'm doing the violin, I was also kind of pursuing music theater at the same time. So my senior year of college, I was cast in the tour of Sweeney Todd, and
mhm.
that's what really,
And that
really.
was the first time you got to do both together, right?
That's right. That's right. And what an experience. love being on the road. What a beautiful show. And yeah, do it all again.
Did that sort of open something up for you? Because I know I started as a pianist. You know this, but people who don't know it, I started as a pianist, which was great. But the first time I played a concerto with an orchestra, it just opened something up. It's like, that's what I've been missing. I've been missing an orchestra, which led to conducting and other things. So when you put the singing and the violin together, was that like an aha moment?
I think my brain was still very much at that time. I was 21. Gosh, at the time, I think my brain was very much in. Oh, you go and audition for this theater piece, and somebody else kind of comes up with what it's going to be, and you've got your director, and So while I did do a little bit of that, I would say it was really well strung. That really got that going for me, and was like, oh, you can create your own stuff,
and you could do both.
You can do both, and there's an audience for that. Yeah.
So it was a really, it wasn't something conscious of you of let's marry these two things together. It really came by chance.
Yeah.
Which is, I mean, and you play other instruments, if I'm not mistaken?
I do. I play some clarinet and a little piano.
And of course, people should know, like, we've seen it with Trevor, that he switched viola, violin. You could play viola if you had to. Obviously, if I put a gun to your head, which I'm not going to do.
I love viola. I think it's such a rich and beautiful instrument. So one of these days I will get one. And I've been doing all this recording stuff. I'm layering lots of strings.
Oh, really?
So now I'm like, I kind of need my viola to get that lower register in there. Yeah.
So what do you envision like as a dream next step in terms of, would it be then bringing in acting, singing, playing together, which you did kind of with Sweeney Todd, but doing something that way, or would it be doing more vocalist work?
Oh gosh, that's such a great question. The theater industry has changed for me. It's interesting because I look back when I was 22, and I mean, I will forever, ever love theater, and I would certainly jump at the chance to do a great role and be in a great show. But it's been very rewarding to work on my own project. Now, maybe that could be, create a show, but working on this recording and really, doing the whole solo show, I really enjoyed being a musician in that way. Of course, I'm singing and doing that, but I've kind of enjoyed the idea of I'm creating these pieces of music, and of course talking, and that's the show into itself. But
right.
Yeah, so I kind of like this route for a little bit. It's feeling good, and I'm really enjoying how it's gone so far. So I look forward to doing more of that and writing music of my own and getting into that whole world.
We've mentioned that you have a boyfriend. You've been together for how long?
We've been together almost 5 years. Yeah.
Oh God, I was going to say 3. There you go.
I
know. Plans to get married or do anything for? I mean, you live together. Obviously, you've got the house.
That's right. We absolutely will, and I think we fluctuate back and forth between let's get married in Italy, let's go alone. Who knows? But it will definitely happen at some point.
Well, I say that because, of course, Varla, get ready. I'm bringing you back up. Varla got married. Was it last year?
It was 2 years ago, August 27th.
In Provincetown.
Yes.
And the lovely Marilyn May, I believe, sang for you? Or was she just there?
We went to her show and she dedicated a number to us. Yeah, she had a show. So
right.
I think she was working the night of our wedding, actually. But
Marilyn.
We went there. We went there the next night, and she sang a song. Yeah, so it was great. And my mother-in-law was there, who's 83. Who of course knew Marilyn May, was just like over the moon. It was amazing.
How has it been different for you being now in a really long-term stable relationship and still performing on the road?
It's so funny. DeWitt is retired, so and he.
Oh, thank God.
Yeah, I know, but he's been retired for a long time. But but he has great opinions, and there's small things like jewelry and shoes stuff that I've never really cared about, and he's like he has an eye for detail. I mean, he's one of those gay guys who can do anything, who will walk into Michael's and make a giant spray of flowers for like $20. Like, I mean, like one time I was going to buy flowers for somebody. He goes, "Oh, I'll just arrange them," and I'm not kidding you. It was the most glorious thing I've ever seen. He can do anything, so he's great, and he's very supportive, and and he comes and watches the show, and he's not scared to tell me when he doesn't like something. He's not one of these who says, "I love it." When I was singing Meadowlark, in fact, he was like, "You're going to cut that song," and I was like, "How dare you?" And then I cut that song.
So you were, now when you started in Provincetown this year, was it still, Edmund and I were just talking about it being light out. Was it light when you started the first few shows? Because it was earlier in the season.
No, I'm at 9 o'clock and it's dark, dark, dark. You know what? Sunlight and daylight is a young girl's game. It's not for an old woman.
So Edmund, it's perfect for you, a child.
Edmund, yes.
Bless you.
Yeah, but it's gotta be really strange. I hadn't even thought of it, Edmund, till you mentioned it, that performing in daylight, there is sort of a casualness about it, which I guess in this kind of COVID craziness we're living in, maybe is good, because you can sort of see each other. You're not alone, and there is a sense of community. But does it also make it a little bit less formal in terms of presentational?
Absolutely. I mean, I love darkness and beautiful lights and everything. It can really craft a moment. You're playing a beautiful sentimental song. You've got nice blue light on. It's obviously 7 p.m. There's none of that, but so it makes you really focus on the music itself and be like, we need to make this moment as good as it can be with just us.
Right.
Well,
and
I look prettier in the dark, and if you're going to do a show, in daylight, it's a natural show. There's nothing about me that's natural, so I need dark and shadows and smoke and mirrors. It's like. I actually wish it were darker. Yeah.
It just sounds kind of scary. Yeah. It's funny because when you guys were at the art house and the shows were early, you have a feeling when you're in a theater that it's later. Yeah. And then all of a sudden you walk outside.
And it's daylight.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I opened the door and it's like, because I used to do shows at 8:30, so it was still light at 8:30. It always turns before 9. It's always dark here. So yeah, I love the dark. My favorite at night, all cats are gray. Do you know what that's from?
Yeah, no, that's
Valley
Williams.
Of the Dolls.
Oh,
so that's Valley of the Dolls, where what's her name? Lee Remick? Is that who it is? No. Is that who it is? At night,
the blonde.
No, the dark. Who's Tony's? She's
Tony's sister.
Yeah, Tony's sister. I always think of Randy Roberts, because we did a parody of that once, and Randy Roberts played her. Remember, she goes, "I'll go heat up the lasagna."
Yeah, right. She's very butch. She's very butch in that movie. I really think that, have you guys I didn't even think of this. Have you guys had to bark her? Do you, and people who don't know.
It's illegal.
Oh, you can't bark. Oh my God. Why the fuck aren't I perform? The reason I don't perform Provincetown, it's hell.
No meet and greets, no barking, no flyers allowed.
No flyers.
No flyers. Flyers are not allowed. Posters,
no
flyers.
So Edmund, for somebody like you who just started in the middle of the season, how do you get word out?
Well, it's interesting because in a way I feel like I'm almost, doing two things. I'm the new kid in town because I'm coming a little bit later. But people know me from Well Strung, you know what I mean?
And one night a week.
One night a week, yeah. But in a way, my biggest advertising is if I walk down the street with my violin case, suddenly people know exactly who I am.
See?
It's hard, the mask on, because people are like, hi, and I don't know. I'm sometimes.
See the kid, but see, the young ones always know. Carry the Varla, if you walk down the street with the wig, they know.
Yeah, I know. They think I was stealing a Varla's wig. Yeah. I know.
How is, when you walk around town? I mean, Edmund, you just got there, so I don't know. When did you get into town? I know your first show was last night.
I got into town Saturday, which in a way was an interesting thing because I think it's the day trippers were maybe a little. Jeff can speak to this more than I can, but it seemed like the day trippers on the weekend, the streets were a little fuller. But then come Monday, it felt a little more like September. Not dead, but lighter.
There's still a lot of straight people. A lot of straight people in the street. There's hardly any gay people. You don't see them. You don't see them. I think they all go to the beach during the day, and it's just you just notice there's a lot of straight people. And if it's cloudy, it's the same thing. But everybody's wearing a mask. I have to say, I haven't seen any problems with people saying I'm not wearing a mask. It just doesn't happen here.
Absolutely.
I read that in the New York Times piece about that it's been very straight that the gay people aren't coming to town.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of the people, as you said, the day trippers, people who live on the Cape and like, oh, let's drive up to Provincetown for the day and walk around. How have shops, restaurants, how has everything been? Because I was there July 1st, 1st through the 4th, I guess. Yeah. And everybody was really still trying to figure it out. Not all shops were open. You had to go in one at a time or three at a time, depending how big it was.
Yeah.
What has that been like?
Well, I have some friends who own stores, and obviously gays spend a lot more money on fancy things on vacation than straight people do. They get a hot dog and an ice cream cone and it's over. They're not buying designer handbags for, and so I definitely, it has suffered. I mean, just like with anything, there's not really the clientele spending the money because it's just not the volume of people. It still can seem like 4th of July was a little scary because I was like, there are a lot of people here, and I had just
there were a lot
before. Yeah, and so I thought it was, but it, that was a major holiday, and Labor Day will be the next one. It's been very dead. I mean, sometimes there's not one person on the street. You're like, wait, where? It's like I always think because I got scared as a Southern Baptist kid that God has called everyone but me. Dirty drag queen. You're gonna stay here in purgatory.
Edmund, when you got to town, I mean, it must have kind of been a little bit of a shock for you.
I mean, in a way, it was coming from, we're in the country in upstate New York. So this was like coming to the big city, like we only keep our masks in the car because, I mean, we're in the middle.
And put it on when you get out of the car, right?
Exactly. Oh my God, I have gotten on my bike and gone down the street, not with a mask, waving at people, and then realize, oh my God, I don't have my mask on. And then you're thinking, someone's going to say, I saw Varla going down the street breathing on people. I'm like, and it's just the shame, the spirals of shame running back to your hotel. Now it's like wallet, keys, phone, mask.
Right. Even now, I always have masks in the car, but if I decide to go out and walk, I cannot tell you how many times I've walked back to the house. Fuck, forgot the mask again.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I'm not playing. Yeah. Oh God.
Edmund, so it must be weird for you, Edmund, to be performing and to finally be not wearing a mask. Like you're able to be up there and doing what you do and expressing yourself, but without a mask. Oh, did I lose Edmund? You're breaking up a little, I think.
I'll take that question, Billy.
Edmund, I'll take you out of the studio and come right back. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to kick you out. Hold on. Okay. Varla, you answer the question.
What was it? Oh yeah. I'm not wearing a mask. It's weird because, you're doing a sound check and everything and you feel like, I used to hold it so that people see I at least have it.
Sure.
I mean, and when you're on stage, we're away from the audience. But during sound check, I obviously don't wear it, but everybody else has one on. Let me tell you, the sound person, the staff, Shelly, Chris, Rick, everybody has one on. So you're the only one on without one on stage. So you feel a little weird. I mean, it is funny how now it's just. Even now, like sometimes they'll show the Today Show in the morning and I'll see like Hoda touching someone's face. Oh my God, what's happening? What's happening? And then you realize this is pre-recorded. You're like, oh, thank God.
Thank God.
Now just touching a face, it's like, that's why I always have 2 drinks. You never touch your face.
Does your pianist have to wear a mask?
He wears one. Yes, he does. And we have to be about 10 feet apart. So that's kind of the rule. For the most part, you can, obviously crossing, but you can't hang out together. I mean, so that's another rule because singing, obviously, you spray a little bit.
What about you, Edmund? Does your pianist have to wear a mask?
No, he doesn't. But I do. We don't get within 6 feet of each other. So we keep a little distance.
Yeah, I mean, Judy and I are, about 6 feet apart, and we both
Oh,
have
real?
masks.
Oh,
Like,
it didn't even occur to me. Right, you're on stage
yeah,
together.
but we have our mic stands spaced out. We take our temperatures. We hand sanitize and get off. I mean, we try to do everything we can. Obviously, I mean, it's just, but you feel it. I mean, it's not like in the audience you forget your mask when you're on stage in front of people and you don't have a mask on. And the rest of them are that far away from you. Do feel the pressure to, not pressure, but just you want to be safe. I mean, I wear a mask to and from the stage even to make people
Oh,
feel
wow.
safer. Yeah, I mean, I just don't want one of those funny face shields, but.
Edmund, now you've been performing in Provincetown for so many years. The audience, obviously, this is a different time. Has the audience response changed?
Gosh, that's interesting. Well, I think when we first started, Well Strung was kind of a novelty thing at first. Just like nobody knew what it was going to be. So I think that was kind of it was supposed to be like four good-looking guys playing instruments, and maybe they can, maybe they can't, maybe they can sing, maybe they can't. But I would say what I've seen, certainly with seeing Varla the first year, we got there. I mean, that set the bar for performance really in P-Town, and I would say audiences are really getting accustomed to like a very high level of performance. So that's kind of what I've seen in P-Town. Like, if you don't bring your A game, then it might not fly. That's kind of my biggest thought.
Where'd he go? Did we lose Billy?
Wait, I'm here. Sorry, Jesus.
Yeah.
I was trying to give like Edmund like full screen, and all of a sudden I'm gone. What about you, Varla, in terms of like the audience response? Is it different this year?
No, it feels really good. I think people are just starved to be around other people, even if it's, socially distanced. And I think people are starved to laugh with other people. It's, laughing at Netflix at home on your own, it may be nice, but you're not laughing out loud. What I mean? There is a joy of laughing together with someone, like, oh, that's funny, I mean, I just think people have missed that, and so not that it's shooting fish in a barrel, but it is a lot easier to sell a joke this year. People they want to have fun, they're coming having fun. A lot of times in Provincetown, I had found over the years is that people all have the same experiences. They all go to the beach and they all go to the gym and they all go to tea dance. By the time they get to your show, they are so tired. Well, now they are alert because, they want to be there, and it's not just a thing to do like you're supposed to go see a show on Friday. I mean, people have to work to get into the show because there's very limited seating.
Right.
There's only 2 theaters in town working, the Pilgrim House.
Right, the Pilgrim House and you.
Yeah, and so it's very limited seating. So people want to be there. It's just a little different feel. You can feel it.
But I also think you must both feel it as a mass of an audience because, again, we talked about the space, we've talked about the limited seating. So the response is going to be like a half full house. So does that, I would think certainly doing stand-up, but also doing music is you're not getting the response that you're used to. Edmund, how does that feel for you? Does it feel different?
Certainly, but again, I mean, you can look at the space. You can tell going in. It's not going to be, the normal experience. But then again, I can look out and I can truly see everyone's face. So I can very much, people are clapping and they're smiling, and so that means a lot. That does a lot for me. But you're right. In terms of the massive applause of a
you work a little harder.
I would say so.
Well,
yeah.
I was so used to doing these online shows now for a while.
Where you get no response, right?
Nothing. It's nothing. But now
trust me, I've done 38 of them. I know.
Yeah, hearing a wave and a chuckle is enough for me. A seagull and it's like,
And just so people at home have an idea, people who don't know Provincetown, I found these 2 photos, and I think this kind of really shows it. This is the boat slip during tea dance last year. Okay.
Oh my God.
Okay. Here is the same view this year.
That's it.
And so, I mean, as a performer, that's like, You know,
Yeah.
so I mean, it is a huge difference.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter. You're just doing what you love to do. It really, truly doesn't matter. Like I said, if there were 5 people there, I'd have the same good time that I'm having now. I'm telling you, we need it too for my mental health. I
Right.
have to do something, and I have to please someone. So I don't care how many people it is. You know, it's and you get used to it. You adapt. You know, you
Edmund,
adapt.
so yeah, speaking of that, Edmund, Varla's talked about, wanting not only to perform for money and to make people happy, but also for yourself. I assume that that's got to be the same for you.
Absolutely, absolutely. I getting started with doing this solo show, so there was this whole kind of ramp up, in the fall, winter, and then suddenly the rug kind of got pulled out, cancel all these dates, and I'm just here trying to establish I'm doing this solo show, and this is something I can offer now. I absolutely jumped at the chance to be able to perform in P-Town, and I so agree with you, Varla, that whoever's there, I'm so happy to be on stage, and
Yeah.
and it also speaks, the how wonderful live theater is because the audience knows what's
Yeah.
up. You know what I mean? We all know that this isn't quite a normal theater experience. So nobody's sitting there like, no, this isn't like, when I was at the Palace Theater. Everybody gets it. So it's got that wonderful shared experience quality to it.
Yeah, and what a story this will be when in a few years when this is like remember that summer.
Yeah.
The COVID summer.
Yeah, the COVID summer. Remember, I mean, it's gonna be forever. And also, I mean, I think I'm the longest solo show, consecutive running solo show in Provincetown. I was not going to let Miss Richfield take that from me. I was coming no matter what. If she was here, I was going to be here.
Okay, I want to just remind people, Edmund's show Wednesday nights at the Crown and Anchor. Go to hold on, the banner. If I don't run it, Rick will kill me. Only at thecrown.com. So and that's Wednesday nights at 7:00 in the daylight. If you're able to be seen in daylight, go to his show.
Yeah.
You're wearing a mask. No one's judging. Well,
that's right.
Well, I'd like to say nobody's judging. I'm still judging. I'm
sorry.
From a distance.
From a distance. Yeah, exactly. And of course, Varla's show, Super Spreader, Thursdays through Saturdays at the Crown at 9:00, only at the Crown. And of course, Wednesday night, Varla and Judy show at the Crown. Oh my God, you're so busy. You're like a whore.
I know I'm on every channel. You can't get away.
Are there people this summer that you've been able to go see?
I was going to go see Richfield on Tuesday, and there was a hurricane. I mean, there was wind. It was just heavy wind. You can't do a show. So I haven't really. I've heard the shows here, and I'm going to go see. There's a couple shows here, and I'm going to go see Edmund, of course. And but there's not really more than that. I mean, there's a few shows at the Pilgrim House, and we have some great shows here at the Crown. Some great music, John Richardson and great and Illusions, the classic drag show, which has been running in for, I don't know, 40 years. I mean, it's been around forever. And those girls are so great, and they do their show at 7, and it is hot to be dancing.
Yeah, and again, talking about and drag during daylight.
Oh, it's a young girl's game, and these girls aren't young. They're fighting, but I see them, and they all have these kind of fans, and we all have these. Oh, I don't know if I can pull it up. It's those floor fans, you get at Home Depot.
Oh, yes.
I have three on me, and I'm still sweating right now. Look, it's like, and they have those girls all have one of their own, and they stand in front of it. And they are great girls, the Billie Jean and everyone in that show too. So it's fun to be over here because it's like it's a different environment. I mean, the whole thing is just so absurd,
what I love about the Crown, and I was telling Rick in an email earlier, is that the Crown is the center of town. It's obviously the big fish in town. It has everything. It's a hotel, restaurant, bar, a theater, pool, and so But what is missing, I would think, in Provincetown, and what I've always loved about Provincetown, is all the performers from everywhere knew each other, can go out afterwards. We'd hang out at the drink at like the Shipwreck or whatever.
Yeah.
Are you able to? I mean, I would think the camaraderie part has got to be
Yeah.
different this year because
Yeah,
it's not many
there's
people
no one
there.
here, and then you don't really hang out. If you go with somebody, you have to go with like 2 or 3 people. Yeah, I mean, I'm in bed every night by 11:30, which is so crazy.
Well,
Every
Edmund,
night.
Edmund, I'm sure again being there. Are you there with your boyfriend?
He's here. Yes.
Okay, so again, you're able to just sort of hang out. What has it changed for you, or like after the shows, would you just be going home anyway?
I like a celebratory drink after a show.
I like one during the show.
That's right. I'm a fan of that. But so got dinner at the Crown last night, had a drink, and then you're right. We called it a night. We're not going out to a house or anything like that this year.
Yeah, and I think if I'm not mistaken, everything is now closing at 11.
11, yeah. Last call's 10:45.
Oh, for fuck's sake! So, and even Spiritus.
I don't even know if Spiritus is open, because why would someone stay open till 1? Because that's when till 3. I think they must close. But I can't speak. I'm never open up that late. I have no idea.
Oh my God!
I'll send a scout.
Could you please, a roving reporter?
Yes, I know.
Well, it's been great having both of you. I'm looking at questions. We've already covered all the questions. God, everyone's asking the same questions. But they're all saying how glad, again, the big thing is how glad they are for performers. I think the performers really play a big role in all of history. They've been the ones that have gotten people through it. No matter what, you need to laugh. You need to be entertained. You need to take yourself. The reason we've started shows online, give you a break from the news. You can't watch the news every day.
Right.
I'm sorry.
Boy. Yeah. No.
So I'm glad that P-Town is there. I will be coming. I'm going to try to come next week. Yeah. So I want to see you guys in person. I won't. I'm not giving anyone notes this year because
bring your opera glasses.
Right. I'm just going to sit there and just wave. Good show. Good show. Yeah. That's it. But I appreciate you guys coming here, and I appreciate you still performing. Billy. We need you. We need you.
Thank you. We are so glad, and thank you to Mark Rotali, who did make all this happen for us here at the Crown.
Right. But, again, the world has not come to an end, but Rick Murray and Mark Rotali are working together.
Yes, I know. Isn't that exciting? It's like peace in the Middle East wouldn't have come sooner.
We'll see how long it lasts.
Yeah,
Edmund, thank you so much for being here, Varla. I adore both of you. We'll talk again really soon.
All right. Thank you for having me again.
Great to see you guys again. Bye, sweetie. And thank you, everyone, for watching. Oh, my God, this has been so much fun. We need our performers. I have to tell you this. You have to really support the performers because they're hurting. A lot of people who can go back to work or work from home, what's a performer going to do? Well, look, I'm not making a cent off of this. So, but I'm glad people are watching. And if you feel like going to Provincetown, you've got places to go. Edmund is there. I'm going to show it again because what the fuck? Edmund's there Wednesday night, 7 p.m. Varla is there Thursdays through Saturdays. And of course, with Judy Gold, our good friend Judy Gold, Wednesdays. So, and also Varla brought it up. The Pilgrim House is also doing shows. Miss Richfield is there. Our friends Brandon and James are there next week. So go see them. Thank you for watching. Next week, I don't know who we have on. I wish I could tell you, but we will be here. I swear to you, because I am Billy Masters. And if we're here, we're live. Take care of each other. Have a good weekend. Bye.